What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Do you as an INFJ feel like you understand everybody but nobody understands you? Do you go through life wondering why you're never being listened to? And it's not just about what you say, it's about how you experience the world, it's about how you communicate that to others. It always seems like everybody is deaf to it and you do not know why this is happening and how you can reverse it. Today we're gonna look into this more in detail and we're going to ask the question, is it even necessary for people to understand you? And if the answer is yes, how we're going to reach that understanding. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you want to take the next step in creating your INFJ Epic Life, then work with me privately or join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. We're starting May 22nd. There's a waiting list and we're going to have a payment plan this time, so you find all the information below. We as INFJs are known to be people who understand others very deeply, and it's not just about what people are hiding, it's about how they experience the world. It seems like we're helping people feel seen, and this is so important to us because we ourselves feel like this is what we want the most. We want to be seen, we want to be understood. And you'll see if you go through life that the things we give to others is most often the thing we want in ourselves as well. It's the thing that we want most. So if we have this in the back of our mind and we go through life and we always keep on questioning why we're not being understood, what we can do about it, then we always get into this dilemma because we're not going to stop understanding others. We're not going to stop helping others because we know the pain of being misunderstood. We know the pain of feeling lonely and as if we're the only person in this world who experiences the same thing we're experiencing. So if we see somebody like that, we want to be of rescue. We want to help. We want to make that person feel worthy, seen, and lovable. But if we say on the other hand that people will never be able to understand us, or that most of the time they won't, then is it that people actually want to be understood on such a deep level? Because if you think about so many of the situations where you've been in where there were people who you felt like, okay, they're hiding something, they have deep fears, they want to bring this to the forefront, and you can actually see that. You can see that in the way they express themselves, you can see that in the way they carry themselves. It's just a way about them, and we as INFJs can pick that up. How often has it happened to you that you actually said something or that you crossed that boundary of let's keep the superficial and you're like, okay, let's cut it. Let's not pretend that this is what we've been doing right now. We want to see what it really is. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the underlying issues. We're going to talk about what we both know, but nobody is saying. And what happens when you do this? So often that person gets upset. That person feels like their pride has been hurt, their ego has been bruised, and you don't know how to repair that whole situation. So this is something that so many INFJs experience. And on the other hand, we still have the problem of, okay, well, how am I going to be understood? So if you look at it from that perspective, you recognize, well, the reason why people are so afraid of you crossing that boundary, why it's so uncomfortable for them, for you to, be authentic in that way, that should actually tell you that on a conscious level, they do not want to be understood. They don't want other people to find out their weaknesses, their fears, what is really bothering them. And you might think, doesn't everybody want to be understood? But that's not really the case. What you're looking into and what you're understanding are not the things they want other people to see. If you ask yourself, okay, I as an INFJ want to be understood. You're not thinking about, okay, I want people to find out that I also can be very selfish, that I can be cold, that I can be completely manipulative. Whatever it is, we all have parts in ourselves that are not perfect. That makes us human. It doesn't mean that you have to be consciously manipulative. It's just that from time to time, every single one of us is not acting in a way that makes us feel good about ourselves. It's just human nature. But that's not what we actually want other people to see. So let's rephrase that. Let's find out what we actually want. We want other people to see some kind of greatness in us. We want them to recognize what we're doing for them. We want them to recognize that we we connect with them on such a deep level, that we are able to be that emotionally invested, that we're able to hold space for others. All of those things that make us who we are, and in a way how we want to be seen. So it's not about understanding everything that we are. It's about being loved. It's about being understood. It's about being appreciated. That's what we seek out in others. So these are two aspects we very much have to distinguish. Do we want to be understood, or do we want to be valued? And in a lot of ways, we have to admit to ourselves, we want to be valued. Yes, in a lot of ways, it is that we want other people to see how we see the world, that we feel like we're not alone, that we connect. But it comes down to this, that every single time you wanted somebody to understand you and it wasn't possible, you always wanted that person to see you for a good person, for a smart person, for somebody with a great imagination, whatever it is. You wanted that person to see great parts of you, and for them to be able to see all the sacrifices that you've gone through, the strength that it took to become the person that you are. So once we're aware of that, what are we going to do with that information? First off, understand that if other people feel uncomfortable, you understanding them on a deep level, then they probably don't want it as much as you want this. They don't want to be understood how you want to be understood. Because in order to understand somebody, you have to see the good parts and you have to see the negative parts. There's no way of looking at it from a perspective of, oh, that person is only so great. What we want is for people to see who we really are, and for them make the judgment that we're wonderful. That's what we want. So you can't really reverse engineer it and say, okay, I understand that person so deeply. Yes, I see some negative qualities in them, but I predominantly see them as a wonderful person. And I want them to see that, yes, I'm aware of your negative traits or your weaknesses, but that just makes you that much more lovable in my eyes. That makes you human. It is uncomfortable. It's an ego hit, and you cannot force another person to open up to you this way. So if you're able to understand that person, although that person doesn't want it, there is no wonder why it makes them uncomfortable. So that's one side of the story. The other one, again, is you want to be understood. So if you really want to be understood, then you also have to live out your negative traits, your so-called negative traits, because in the end, it makes us all human. You cannot wait and hide everything from the world and hope that there's going to be that one person, and because you're being so generous towards them, because you're sacrificing so much for them, you're making space for them, whatever it is that you do, because you do all of those things, they will recognize how great you are. This just isn't the way it works. And if it was working this way, I would be the last one to tell you don't do this. If it would work, great. Why not? Why not be liked for what you do? But the truth is, it never works. People never really like you for what you do for them. People like you for who you are. And if you look at the people that you've liked in your life, it's probably not that you always like the person the most who does most things for you. It is that we actually get inspired by other people's energy, that we see something in them that makes us feel alive. There's a power, there's an energy. That's that person being as much of themselves as they can be. And even if we like somebody knowing that they're just pretending, we still sense that energy underneath. And that is something that INFJs can do and that most other people cannot. So what does that mean? If we want other people to recognize our energy, do we just have to give up? Do we have to say, okay, since INFJs are only 1% of the population, does that mean I will never be understood? The answer is no. You can be understood. You can be seen for as much of who you really are, much more than you have ever been able to show before. But it will never be to such an extent as you can understand yourself. We have to accept the fact that nobody can understand you the way you understand yourself. And even the people that you feel like you understand so well, it only happens through your perspective. No matter how well of an empath you are, no matter how well you understand others, it cannot happen in a way how they experience themselves. So this whole notion of, oh, I understand you better than you understand yourself, yes, it might be true in some instances, but still, we haven't experienced everything that person has experienced. We can sense maybe some energy about them, but it still happens through our own lens. So it's always our kind of interpretation. It's our way of seeing the world. And once we accept this, once we know this, and we say, no matter who comes into my life, even if it was another INFJ, even if it was somebody who would understand others so well and experience their energy and all of that, they're still not going to be able to get everything that I am. So how does that make you feel? At first, it's probably a shock. At first, it hurts. There's grief behind it because it means that you have to go through life not being understood. And so often we say that to ourselves, yeah, nobody understands me. But in the back of our mind, we still have that hope that one day somebody will understand us, that one day people will actually look at us and be thankful for everything that we do for them, that they appreciate who we are and how we approach the world. But here's the dilemma. People will never be able to experience it to such an extent as you can experience it. But what they can do is to start liking you for you liking yourself. And that's a huge difference from the default state INFJs operate from. What we normally do is we hollow ourselves out, we make space for others, we allow their energy to come into our sphere, we allow them to be everything that they want to be, because deep down that's what we want. We make space for them, but if we do that, others will never be able to sense our energy. How can they? You're not showing anything of it. And it's in a lot of ways the secure route to go, because if you don't express anything, and I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about not just opinions, but also about how you see the world, what kind of judgments you have, show things about you that not everybody's going to like. If you're not willing to show that to the outside in any kind of capacity, through the way you live your life, through the way you express yourself, through the choices you make, people will not be able to decide if they like you or they don't. They will always be sort of ambivalent. There will be a thing of, okay, that person doesn't really bother me, or if they bother me, it's because they understand me somehow and that makes me uncomfortable. You know, we have experienced this. But this thing of, okay, people actually don't like me because I'm not trying to hide parts. How often have you been in situations where, you know, I'm hiding these parts of me, of my personality, because if I bring them out, it makes people uncomfortable. I know they're not gonna like it. And so why should I do that? I don't need to prove anything. I don't want to create this harmony. But what we're actually doing is we're not liking ourselves at that moment. The only way people can add to this feeling of I feel understood is if you say, I understand myself. I choose myself. Yes, maybe other people's energy might seem more interesting at first, but that doesn't matter. It's still not you. This is a choice. It's a choice about saying, no matter what, I want to build up my energy. I want to build up my INFJ epic life. And it starts with me. It starts with how I experience the world. So what I find interesting, I'm not going to hide that. I'm going to make other people be able to see that. Remember, this thing of wanting to be understood, if we want to have authentic connection, we have to give people the opportunity to see us for who we really are, for who we experience ourselves to be. And that also includes doing things that other people might not like. Because only if you express yourself, people who do appreciate what you do, who do see what you're doing, they can add to the mix. They can come into your life and add to your happiness. But it can never happen if you don't choose yourself. If you say, I'm not going out in this world in order for other people to understand me. If people would never understand me, I'd still choose me. Because I'd rather be disliked for who I am than being liked for somebody that I'm not. That's not authentic love. That's not authentic appreciation. And that is what we really want. If we say to ourselves, I want to be understood, what we actually want is for people to see us for who we really are, for who we want to be, for the person that we choose to be. And then they can decide, okay, I see you, I like you, I want to be close to you. That's how real connections happen. And it doesn't have to be only from a romantic standpoint. This goes to every kind of relationship you have in your life. But again, if you go out in the world and you hide yourself from the world and then you say, oh, okay, there's this one person and they will be able to understand me because we think similarly and I'm doing so much for them, and you wait for them to finally understand you, this isn't going to happen. And you know this. Otherwise, it would have happened in the past. It is on you to make that choice of saying, I'm going to choose me. You might not understand me, but I'm not going to hide parts of me thinking that that would increase the chance that you would stay close to me. That's the necessary step to authentic power. That's the necessary step to really be understood. Show to the outside as much of who you are on the inside. This is not something you can do from one day to the other. It takes practice. It's choosing yourself over and over again and creating more and more energy that comes from you, that you are creating, giving out into the world, connecting with people through that authentic power, and then being able to continuously grow so people can understand you more and more, so they can see you, so they can sense your energy. People cannot do this if you don't choose yourself, if you don't go out in the world and say, I'm not seeking to be understood anymore. I choose myself. What I want is to be appreciated. So I'm going to start appreciating myself. And when you do that, you fill up your cup. You don't need another person to worship you in order to feel full of life. You're already giving so much to yourself that you're okay with people just adding to your happiness. Remember, you don't need to be understood. You just need to choose yourself over and over and over again. I really hope that inspired you to make that shift and start creating your INFJ epic life. Remember, if you want my personal help with this, then work with me one-on-one or join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. We have a waiting list and there's going to be a payment plan this time. We're starting in May and you find all the information below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on INFJs who don't care. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you next time. Bye.